day. So welcome everybody. Welcome to another installation of wheelchair yoga sponsored by the Woody Foundation. Today we are once again live streaming from Miami's beautiful Biscayne Bay. My name is Natalie. I'm from Dharma Yoga Studio in Coconut Grove. I'm going to be your guide, your yoga guide. And these chair yoga classes that we've been live streaming are the collaboration of 3 like-minded organizations. The Woody Foundation was established in 2011 with the purpose of improving the lives of people with brain and spinal cord injuries. The Impossible Dream is a unique 60-foot catamaran that functions as an educational vessel, and it's expressly designed for people in wheelchairs. And we've had about 15 people at a time in wheelchairs on this boat, which is incredible. And Dharma Yoga Studio in Coconut Grove has been working in collaboration with the Woody Foundation for about 6 years, 8 years. We've been having the chair yoga class for about 8 years. And so all of these groups are really collaborating and trying to bring together these classes just to improve the lives of people living with paralysis, their lives and their family. The Woody Foundation does all kinds of cool events to help people participate and recapture the lightheartedness of life through adaptive events like adaptive fishing, like adaptive cycling, hand cycling, like chair yoga. And they're a group that's pretty well known for putting the fun in fundraising with their cool annual events like the Woody Stock Concert, like the Lionfish Bash, like the Lobster Feast, and the Woody Golf Classic, and other events. And the Impossible Dream has a really cool mission that every year, for at least the last 5 years, they have been taking a trip up the eastern seaboard of this continent. And they stop, and every port of call that they make, they foster and create friendships with different organizations like advocacy groups, veterans administration centers, veterans groups, different rehab centers and hospitals on the way. And their purpose is to get people out on the water. And the founder of the Impossible Dream firmly believes, and we all agree, that the water itself possesses curative powers. So all the different groups that collaborate to bring this class to you, we are all really focused on community outreach, and that has been our aim at Dharma Yoga Studio as well from the very start, to be as inclusive as possible on our schedule and to offer the kind of classes to as many people as we can. So that really we're talking about barrier-free yoga, like the Woody Foundation is talking about barrier-free fun, and the Impossible Dream is talking about barrier-free access to the sea and to water events. So after having made that introduction, I first next want to just welcome you to come into class. And it's a beautiful setting. You see Miami behind us, and the way that Miami is depicted a lot in the media is kind of land-based a lot of times. It's maybe slightly superficial. But when you have serene beauty like this, and when you see Miami from a distance, you really can appreciate her beauty. It's really spectacular. And so many of us are sheltered at home, so that's why we decided to live stream these classes. And really, the adventure has been so successful that we're I think all of us are wondering why we didn't start doing this before. Because one of the barriers to actually meeting in a group and having these chair yoga classes is the fact that it's really hard to get to the studio sometimes, because transportation is an issue that people living in wheelchairs really have to face every day. Much more difficult than traffic issues and parking issues that most of us are used to. So now that we offer these classes, live streaming, hopefully you can enjoy them from different settings. And if you don't have a setting as serene as this, then you can join us virtually, of course. And also, we want to point out that some of the sessions we've done in the past are uploaded onto the website of The Impossible Dream, and also they have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to, which is pretty cool. So next, I want to say that we wish that you all could be here with us. Obviously, we're sheltering in place, and we have a lot of friends at this point. We have lots of friends in chairs, lots of family members, and so we really miss being with all of you. And to be on this boat is really spectacular because the accessibility is so apparent. And we want to make sure that everybody that is sheltering at home is especially aware of our family members and our colleagues that are at risk, especially people that are facing paralysis, that have other issues to be concerned with on a daily basis. So we want to shout out to everybody out there. And we hope that you're safe, that your families are safe, that your loved ones are safe, and that your pets are safe, and that you feel safe. And I want to remind you that as we do these yoga moves, I want to remind you that I'm going to be your guide, not your boss. So I'm not going to be bossing you around. And we do these chair yoga classes to bring the powers of yoga to everybody. And a lot of times when we do yoga these days, we kind of get into these, I want to say pretzel-like shapes, because even though it's kind of an exaggeration to say that, but most of us at this point are used to the concept of yoga being about the physical body, when in fact the philosophy of yoga, the subject of yoga, is so vast that the physical aspect of it it's just a minuscule part of it, really. So there's a lot of other things to consider. There are breathing practices that are part of the yoga philosophy. There are concepts of conduct, concepts of treatment of yourself and others, of living in community. These are all part of the overall broad subject of yoga. And the concept of meditation, concentration and meditation are other parts of it. But the reason we start with the physical is that we are incarnate and we have a physical body, and it's the most obvious thing to deal with. So we start with the physical, with the idea that there are metaphorical benefits, that there are symbolism involved in the physical movements, and our friends and family in chairs know that the powers of concentration, the powers of focus, and the powers of the imagination are really tools for happiness that could bring us that quality of lightheartedness and equanimity. Because people that are used to using their bodies and that have no barriers to movement, no hurdles of making physical movements, perhaps we don't understand this concept as well because we're not as used to it. We don't have to face it every day. So as we go through our physical movements today, we're going to be doing gentle stretches. We're going to be doing some things to help with our balance, with our strength, with our core strength, with circulation. Not just circulation of the blood, but also lymphatic drainage. As we move the torso around, we move the arms around, we're moving the lymph, which is really important because because it can help us avoid swelling and inflammation, especially in the extremities. And we're going to be doing some breathing exercises, and that really is one of the things that helps us with our focus and helps us to relax. Because when we get into these rhythmic movements that are tied to the breath, sometimes it just we have a chance to kind of get entranced. And when we've got so many things to worry about, we've got so many concerns out there, it's nice just to be able to come home, stay home, and do some things to help our level of anxiety. And that's something that we all have in common these days because a lot of us are battling worries about ourselves, our own health, our own well-being, and our family, and really the whole world is feeling the effects of the coronavirus. So, in other words, we're all in the same boat. And on this boat today, even though we have lots of friends, we want to point out that we are few and far between. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do in terms of yoga is to notice your breath. So I'm going to ask you to take your hands and put them on your torso somewhere, anywhere. cover as much territory as you can. So you're spreading out your fingers and you're trying to feel your body moving as you breathe, so you get comfortable. And most of us, when we get this assignment, it kind of takes a moment to draw the focus in. So you can close your eyes if that helps you, and just notice how you breathe. Notice what happens with every breath in and with every breath out. We're not really changing the breath right now. We're just noticing it. We're acknowledging that we expand and we deflate with every round of breath. This is the pattern that's been with us our whole lives so far. And you've done it well enough to make it here today. For most of us, there's a habit of breathing kind of shallowly into the chest. And if you've ever had a moment of great anxiety, you know that the kind of breathing that takes over is a very shallow breath that happens just at the top of the lungs. Now that we've been just noticing the breath and feeling for it, let's acknowledge that it's happening not just in the front of the body where our hands are, but the sides of the body, the back of the body. So this is kind of elementary. But very few of us succeed at focusing on the breath for more than a couple minutes at a time. Because the mind will start to wander. And if you have anything to be anxious about, anything to be worried about, your mind will probably go there. And if you have a lot of happy memories, your mind might go there. If you have projects for the future, your focus might go there. But we're suggesting that we get right here and just notice what's happening in your chair, in your body. So we're using the breath as a technique to draw the focus in. And it might be a little easier to follow if we make it a little more audible. And we have a few breathing techniques that we can employ. One is to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. If that works for you, you can do that. And another is to constrict the back of the throat a little bit, just so that you can hear the breath a little more obviously. And both of these breathing techniques will just remind us that that's an assignment, to notice the breath. So whichever technique you choose, the objective is to rarefy the breath enough that you're staying focused on it. But then again, it only takes a few rounds before we forget the assignment. And with the breath, audible breath, or in through the nose and out through the mouth, whatever you choose, when you notice that you stop doing it like that, instead of acknowledging what you're thinking, just brush it away, come back to the breath. So that it'll get very simple. It'll get very simple. What we'll do when the mind is wandering is that you just say, oh, there's a thought that's arising. And without going into detail, you say, you bring your focus back to you. Okay, next thing, we're going to add some movement so that the breath is easier to follow. So you're going to bring your arms down, and as you inhale, you're going to stretch them straight, reach them forward. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the arms back to how they were. Okay, just like that for the next few rounds of breath. Stretch the arms straight, even stretch out the fingers, spread them apart, and exhale, bring the arms down. So every move we make is going to look different on everybody. Of course, because you're doing you. So you be you. When there's just one person to watch, we don't get the idea of how much possibility there is. Everyone will do this in their own way. If you can lift your arms a little higher, you do that. I'm not concerned with how straight they are, how high they go, how symmetrical they might be. You keep lifting the arms a little bit higher. And instead of just making it about lifting the arms and straightening them, put some energy in the arms. So you're engaging the muscles in the shoulders, in the upper arms. You're straightening the elbows enough so that you feel the whole arm. Even the forearm is engaged. Spread the fingers apart so you really feel it in the hands. And let's do 5 more to the rhythm of the breath. So the assignment is to move to the breath's rhythm. And make sure that you haven't just started rote movement, without noticing. This is about celebrating movement. And if you can lift your arms higher for the next two, do that with the idea that you're even spreading open the sides of the body, even creating more space between the ribs. And then we're going to bring the arms down. Okay, now we're going to do something a little more percussive, and it's going to involve lifting up the shoulders with a deep breath in through the nose, and then as you exhale, you let the arms just like fall. Okay, so do that a few times. Inhale, let the shoulders lift up, and then exhale. Do that a few times more. Go back and forth. So make it dramatic. I, of course, have my vegan chinchilla puffs over here, so I don't want to like squeeze them too much. So my movement might be a little curtailed, but it's not about me, of course, it's about you. Okay, two more. Thank you. Last one. Okay, now keep shaking out your hands. Imagine that you have something on your hands like water, and you're shaking it off your hands because we're conserving paper towels. And we don't want to use a paper towel. We don't want to waste that. Now shake your hands, your fingers, your wrists, your forearms. Do it even a little bit more aggressively. And now, after having shaken out your hands and your arms, now bring your arms to stillness and just feel what it feels like to be still. So it's about contrast. And when we're talking about the physical, how the yoga practice is, we're talking about trying to balance out complementary actions. And that's pretty much what we're doing. So, after movement, we have stillness. After inhale, we have exhale. Let's bring the hands to rest in your own favorite way. And then let's start to move the head and neck. And again, with the breath. So as you make your next inhale, you let your head lift. And as you exhale, you let your head come down. Okay, so go back and forth with that movement. It's really simple. There's no rush. This is not anything, fancy. We're not trying to be flashy. There's no bling here. Just moving with the breath's rhythm. Try to make it smooth. And notice, if the objective is to really focus on the breath, notice what you're thinking. If your mind has already started to wander, let's do two more. Slow it down, slow the movement down so that you're really revealing the breath's pace by nodding in the affirmative, in this case, very slowly. Okay, now we're going to come back into neutral. And we're going to move the head from side to side. So for this one, on the inhale, we're going to turn the head all the way to one side, as far as it'll go. So you're kind of lining up as much as you can, your chin with your shoulder. And then as you exhale, you go the other way, head all the way to the other side. Okay, back and forth, just like that. So inhale, you're going to one side. And exhale, you're turning to the other. Now, as I'm doing this, I can follow with my eyes the line of the horizon, the line of the water. If you feel dizzy when you do this move, do it with your eyes closed and just visualize the line of the water there. And then next time, exhale to one side and stay there for a moment. Keep your head on that side. Take a deep breath. And then as you exhale, you go the other way. So we're just balancing it out. We don't have to be exactly in sync with each other, but definitely get in sync with the breath. And remember, when we do these yoga moves, when we're committing ourselves to a yoga practice, in this case, yoga in chairs, we're really trying to carve out a little moment of tranquility for us. Thoughts will try to penetrate. Hold them at bay. Let's do one more each side. And in so doing, we are going to be we're working on our powers of focus, on our powers of concentration. So let's bring ourselves back to center with the head. Now the head is in neutral. And we're just going to keep on going with this idea of moving the arms. So we're going to bring our arms to our sides. And we're going to get a sense of contrast here. So if you let your arms just dangle, it feels like arms are just dangling. They're just there. And now, make your arms active. And by that I mean engage all the muscles in your arms. So from your shoulders, chest, the upper back even. Locate your shoulder blades on the back of the body. Visualize them. Visualize the bottom tip of the shoulder blades and press that tip forward a little bit. So maybe you get the sense that your chest is lifting, like your collarbones are broadening. So keep that activity in the upper body and the upper torso and make your arms even more tense. Take a nice deep breath like that. And then exhale, relax the arms. So just get that sense of contrast. Do that again. Inhale, stretch the arms out. Make them straight, make them feel strong. And then exhale, bring the arms down. Do that a few times. And let's just acknowledge that when we put the muscular energy in the arms, when we're contracting the muscles of the fingers, of the hands themselves, of the forearms, of the upper arms, of the chest and upper back, we're bringing circulation to these areas. We're bringing a sense of life force. Let's do one more. Stretch the arms straight. And then bring the arms down. Okay, so relax the arms. And just pause for a moment. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. So in all cultures, the sound of a sigh symbolizes release and relief. Take one more nice deep sigh. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, so from here, let's do something about keep on going with the idea of the muscles of the upper torso. So let's take the hands, take them together, line up all the fingers. So the heels of the hands are pressing into each other, the rims of the palms are pressing into each other, and then all the knuckles of the fingers line up from the base, from the root, all the way to the tip. And then press your hands into each other, hard. This is the kind of thing that we can do, we can kind of like cheat at. You can just hold your hands together like this and not really try. But that's not what we're here for. So really press the hands together. And of course, it's more than about just the hands. It's about the muscles in the arms, the lower arms, the upper arms, the chest, upper back. Make it about those muscles. Now spread out your fingers as much as you can, and then bring the heels of your hands to the level of your elbows. And we're gonna keep coming back into this position. Fingers spread apart as much as you can. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, lift your hands and squeeze your forearms toward each other, elbows toward each other, elbows in line with your shoulders. And then back to how you were. Inhale, drop the hands, spread out those fingers, and then exhale, squeeze your fingers toward each other, lift your elbows to the level of your shoulders. Keep on going. Inhale, so use the back of the body as much as the front of the body. Exhale. And inhale, do that twice more. And exhale. And as you do this, try to relax where you can. So even though we're using muscular action in the hands and in the arms, the chest and upper back, relax the neck, relax the jaw, relax the forehead. But don't fall asleep. 2 more. Exhale. And then last one, inhale, and then exhale. So let's keep the hands together like this. We're going to go back to the original position, and now we're just going to turn. So we externally rotate the forearms so that the fingers are going forward and then they aim down. And bring them back. So keep on doing that. So we're just keeping the heels of the hands pressed toward each other. And just move them as much as you can, wherever they go. So let's do that twice more. And then we're going to relax the hands, relax the arms, and just let them soften in the lap. Okay. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just notice whatever you can notice about your atmosphere, about your experience, about your personal space, the space you share. So we're going to do something for the core of the body now. So first, spread out your fingers a little bit. I felt that in my hands and fingers. Okay. So let's do this. Let's take the hands let's take the hands like this. So we're going to turn the palms to face down, and we're going to have the middle fingertips touching. We're going to try to move the shoulders down away from the ears. Okay. So we're going to just move the torso in a little bit of a twist. And let's get something straight. Let's root through the legs. Whether you have a lot of sensation in the legs or no sensation in the legs, let's not ignore the legs. They're there. Spread out the toes. Visualize and feel the soles of your feet planted on the ground. Visualize the natural arches of the feet lifting. Genius design. All four corners of the feet rooting down. Even though they're not square, but you get the idea. Okay? So the legs are solid. They're willfully stationary. So visualize and feel the muscles in the legs engaged so that you're holding yourself steady from the ground up. Feet rooted on the ground, hips in the chair, root down through those sitting bones. Okay, now we're gonna keep the lower body strong and stationary, rooted down. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, turn your upper body in one direction, and then inhale back to the center, and exhale, turn your body in the other direction. Okay, so even if your chair is in the way here, even if the back of your chair is in the way, make the twist as much as you can. Now, if the back of your chair or wherever you're sitting is really interfering, then do this. Slide one hand over the other. I guess this is kind of like an I Dream of Jeannie kind of thing. So you're sliding not just your hands over each other, but you're kind of stacking your forearms. Back and forth. Inhale to the center. And exhale, turn. And inhale to the center. And exhale, turn. So at this point, you're probably noticing that when you make that exhale, when you're trying to make the turn, you've got a little more exhale to go. So slow it down. Now, if you have one forearm over the other, make the switch. And try to stay aware of what you're doing. So there's lots of opportunity to feel distracted. That's easy. Drawing the focus in and keeping it drawn in, that's harder. And we all know that it behooves us to hone our powers of concentration. Let's do two more each side. Really use the core to complete that exhale and to turn. Then one more each side. And we come back to the center. And then we're going to let the arms relax. Okay, so we're going to keep on going now with this idea of twisting. This time we're going to hold the twist. So you're going to take your hands over to the right side of your chair, the wheel of your chair, whatever you got over there. And remember, the lower body, the feet, the legs, the pelvis, the hips, the lower abdomen, the lower back, they're willfully stationary. So let's get a sense of that rooting down. Visualize it. Acknowledge it. Take a deep breath as you are. And then as you exhale, you turn your upper body to the right. Okay. And then you're going to use your arms to hold yourself in place. So you kind of like, however you get your fingers around whatever surface you got, without doing it so much that we're really clenching. We're just using the arms to kind of anchor us in this twist of the upper body. Take a few deep breaths. Feel the ribs expand laterally. Feel the contraction of the exhale. And of course, it's normal when we do a twist that we have a sense that the breath is a little bit constricted. Because it is, of course, when you consider what we're doing to the lungs in the rib cage there. And let's get a little contrasting action to the shoulders. So this right shoulder, move it back. But contrast that with the position of the left shoulder. Move it forward. So you're kind of pulling the shoulder blade forward around the side of the body. So we're getting a sense of contrast. We're doing complementary actions with the shoulders. Take 3 more breaths. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. 2 more. Try to open up the back of the ribs with the inhale. And then once more. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Well, look at Miami. Isn't she pretty? And come back to the center. Let's do the same thing to the other side. So deep breath in here. Oh, am I rushing? Sorry. Exhale. I was about to rush to the other side of the twist when there's so much to enjoy about being in neutral. Let's not rush. Okay, deep breath in. And then exhale the other way. Okay, so we're rooting through the lower body. Feet in place, legs solid. So visualize them rooting you down. And it's from that rooting, from that anchorage, that we are able to twist to get that freedom of movement of the upper body. So you use your arms, your hands, however you can. And then start that rhythmic breathing. Remember that we're employing that technique of breathing that rarefies it enough that you can stay focused on it. So whether that is breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, or whether that is, keeping the breath audible by constricting the back of the throat, whatever. Make it work for you. Contrast the actions of the shoulders. So the left shoulder is drawn back this time. The right shoulder is drawn forward. Complementary actions of the shoulder blades. And for the next 4 breaths, we're going to work on opening up the back of the rib cage. And thereby, we're opening up the back of the lungs. So you're lifting and opening, let's say from the back of the waistline. 3 more breaths. 2. Make your last exhale. And then you come all the way back forward to face forward. Okay, so yeah, let's move the shoulders around a little bit. So I'm not going to boss you around. I want to avoid micromanaging you because this is your time to move in the way that you like. But we're going to make some circular actions with the shoulders, right? So take one shoulder, lift it up toward the corresponding ear, move it back behind you, down. Okay, the other shoulder, up, back, and down. Okay, so we're just going in circles. So one shoulder, the other shoulder. So when we're moving the shoulders, of course, the arms are going to move. So make use of your hands, kind of like however you want to use them to help anchor and create a movement that's smooth, that really matches your breath. And of course, when we're moving the shoulders like this, we end up moving the ribcage a lot, so let's not skimp on that possibility. And remember that this movement of the upper body is really brought to us by the steadiness of the lower body, so get a sense of that. Okay, now we're going to go the opposite direction, one shoulder at a time. So one shoulder comes forward, down, and then the other one. Okay, just keep on doing that. Back and forth. Big movements. And as you do this, you might notice that one shoulder wants to lift high as the other shoulder goes down. Great. It's like you're making your own dance. And to micromanage and boss people around about the way that they're dancing is really regrettable. So let's come back into neutral. Okay, so we're going to get more of a sense of movement in the rib cage. So take a few deep breaths first and notice if there's any change in the quality of your breath. So when we do this deep breathing, we can increase our lung capacity. which is a good thing. That affects our metabolism. That affects our mood. That affects our behavior. So let's take the hands to the shoulders. So the fingertips are going to go to the shoulders. Okay. So you're going to take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, you drop one elbow down and you lift the other. But of course, it's not just about the arms. Stay here for a few deep breaths. It's not just about the elbows. It's about the rib cage. So that lower elbow corresponds to the rib cage that's compressing, the waistline that's squeezing, tightening in. The other one, the lifted elbow, the high one, is on the side where you're feeling the rib cage really splay open. Okay, so exhale completely. Inhale back to neutral. Now let's go to the other side. We'll hold this first one. So deep breath in. And then exhale the other way. And hold that one. And right away, acknowledge that this side is different from the other. Most of us are asymmetrical. We have more tightness on one side than the other. So let's not make it about the shoulder. Make it about opening up the rib cage, the waistline. Okay, so now we're going to go back and forth with the breath. So let's go inhale to the center. And then exhale to the side. Inhale to the center. And exhale to the other side. So go back and forth and feel the muscles in the core of the body working. And make sure that you're not just touching your fingertips without any muscular commitment here. So engage the muscles of the forearms, of the biceps and the triceps as you do this, just to get more out of it. And as you're focusing on dropping one elbow down, lift the other elbow up. And now we're going to change it. So we're going to come back to neutral and we're going to exhale to one side and stay there. So the elbow that's high is going to stay there. The other arm is going to straighten out. We're going to reach for something over there. Really reach. Not so much leaning the torso in that direction. More like bowing open one side of the ribs as you compress the other. Engage that outstretched arm. Turn your head so that your neck is comfortable. So that's just one example of you figuring out how to do the move so that it's comfortable for you. And then we're going to come back to the center. Okay, we're going to replace those fingers on the corresponding shoulder. Deep breath in. And then exhale, go to the other side. So that higher elbow is really reaching for the sky. The other elbow straightens. That arm extends straight. We reach with those fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here. Your head and neck are in the most comfortable position. We're trying to keep the lower body rooted. So the feet are in place, the shins are in place. We're trying to keep the weight level on the sitting bones. Make your last exhale. And then inhale, come back to the center. Okay, so we're in an upright position now. Pause here in neutral. So however you can be comfortable, make it happen. Choose a position to be still in and then stay there. Even if you feel asymmetrical, see if you can resist the temptation to fidget, to shift. Notice the quality of your breath. Make it more three-dimensional than usual, so you're opening up the back of the lungs with every breath in. Okay. And then from here, we're going to keep on going. All right? So we're going to do a balanced action, kind of simulating what we do when we walk or we run. Okay? So it's not going to look exactly like a natural walk because we're kind of being theatrical about it in this setting. But by saying that it's the same action that is involved in walking, I'm just acknowledging that we're trying to balance out the hemispheres of the brain, that we're going to be, moving one arm forward and one arm back. We're going to allow the rib cage to move, and then we're going to involve the legs, whether we involve them physically, by moving them, whether we involve them by touching them with the opposite hand, or whether we involve the visualization of movement. And all these things are important. In fact, I'm going to say straight up that do it in your imagination in great detail. And that itself is going to hold the mind steady and help us work on our powers of concentration and it makes it much more challenging in an interesting way. So we start off. Okay, so deep breath, lift one arm out in front of you, the other arm behind you. And then exhale, your arms come down. Then the other opposite set of opposites. Okay, so just keep on going. So right away, my chair is a little bit wide. And a lot of you in wheelchairs, have the wheels themselves or the armrests themselves are a little bit wide. So it doesn't look exactly like a typical walk. But what's important is that we're engaging opposite actions, opposing or complementary actions. So one arm extends out behind you as the other one moves in front. So back and forth. And at this point, your torso might like to turn. Makes sense. So I'm changing the way that I am moving my arm because my chair is in the way. Match the movement to the breath. Inhale. And exhale. So really give the movement your all. Even if it's simple, really give the movement your all. So we're going to add something here. Whatever arm is behind you, you keep turning your upper body in that direction. That we're going to keep doing. But now the arm that's in front of you, we're going to take it and we're going to touch the opposite leg with that hand. Anywhere. Hip, thigh, knee, shin, whatever. So if your breath has gotten deeper and each inhale maybe it's getting stretched out and longer, your movement is going to change. It's going to look slower. And now start to visualize moving your legs. So as you touch that leg with your hand, you're letting the corresponding foot float off the ground. And if you can lift your leg, you lift your leg. And even though it's a slightly theatrical walk we're doing here, or a march, however you see it, visualize yourself walking to a place where you want to be. And let's not skimp on this. Really use your imagination. Flesh it out so that you're visualizing and imagining yourself barefoot so that you can feel the sensation on the soles of your feet. Are you walking through grass covered in dew? D-E-W. Do you have your eyes set on walking on the beach? Is that what you're imagining? Sand crunching underfoot? Take a few more deep breaths. Are you imagining yourself walking out over the water in a puddle? Across your own lawn, through the streets of your favorite village or city. Let's do a few more. There's no limit to the imagination. Just go with the breath. Add your own flair. Let's do one more each side. Sweep the arm open and back. And exhale. Sweep the arm open and back. Exhale, we come back to the center. Okay, now pause. Just feel the aftertaste of that exercise. Go back to the rhythm of the breath. The simplicity of it. Inhale and exhale. hold your focus on the breath. Now let's get a little more side stretching in. So we're going to take the hands and we're going to interlace them. Okay. Now for some of us it's hard to interlace the fingers. So sometimes all it takes is a little patience. Just kind of like work them in there. Okay. So if you can't interlace the fingers, sometimes what we do is we take like a friendly little, like a narrow band, and we can put it around the hands, around the wrists to kind of hold them in place. Other things we can do is hold one hand with the other, whatever you got. So yeah. Or I would say not to use the mask that you're putting around your face, because that's for your face. So let's not rush. Okay. So now we're going to interlace the fingers, and we're going to take the hands and we're going to lift them up on the head. So it's like it's just for a moment you're like resting the hands on the head. Okay. So, and if you can, you're going to take the hands behind the head, and you're going to press the head back and open up the chest. So feel the collarbones broadening, and as you're pressing your head back into the hands, you're using the muscles that line the back of your neck, and you're trying to stretch your elbows away from each other. Take a few deep breaths here. So really we're arching into the upper back. So visualize what's happening in the upper back. Visualize that upper spine coming forward. Visualize the shoulder blades now moving toward the spine, so contracting toward the mid-back, the midline of the back, the spine. Take a few deep breaths here. You're turning your heart toward the sky. And here on the Impossible Dream, we see about 75 feet of mast. Is that so? High. And about 10 feet more. I don't want to misrepresent, so let's come back to neutral. Okay, so here, let's bring one elbow down as the other elbow lifts. But let's keep on going. So we're going to keep the higher elbow up in the air. In this case, it's my left elbow. And I'm going to take my right hand onto the side of my chair, or the wheel of your chair. Okay, so we're going to keep coming back to this position here. So we're going to take a deep breath, kind of stretch that left side of the chest up. You're doing a little bit of a back bend. Okay, now as you exhale, you're going to keep your hand behind your head. You're going to round your back elbow in, and you're bringing that left elbow toward your right hand. Okay, let's do that a few times. So inhale, heart toward the sky, arching. And then exhale, to the upper body, elbow toward the opposite hand. Keep on going. Inhale. And exhale. And let's do one more, and we're going to hold this one. So inhale, lift, and let the left side of your chest stretch open. Press your head into the hand. Feel the muscles that line your spine. Feel them stabilizing you. Take a few breaths here. And then we're going to hold the next one. So deep breath in. So we're going to hold the complementary action. So we're going to exhale and bring that elbow toward the hand and stay there for a few breaths. Feel the left side of the upper back stretching open. So direct the stretch to that area. Make your last exhale here, and then let's rise up into neutral. Okay, same thing to the other side. First we pause, let that arm come down. Okay. We'll just do a little bit of a practice. So I'm going to lift my arms off of my chair. I'm going to just bring one hand over the other. And before you do that same thing to the other side, start to make circles with your torso. Not going too far forward, too far back, not going too far to one side or the other, but using your core to kind of hold yourself up. And being on a boat, we're always to some extent kind of like shifting and trying to remain upright, go the opposite direction. So to some degree, we're always kind of shifting and moving like this, just just to find that equanimity, just to find that balance. Okay, let's come back into neutral. Okay, we're going to take the hands again and we're going to bring them together. So you can use that like little elastic or something to hold your hands together. Sometimes we have a little belt, sometimes those TheraBands, work. Or interlace the fingers, whatever you got, take your time. And then we're going to do the same thing with the arms. So we're going to lift them, we're going to put the hands on the head, lift the head up toward the sky. So the lower body is going to remain stationary, strong, rooted, grounded. And the hands go behind the head. Okay, so take a deep breath. And then exhale, drop the elbow. In this case, it's my left elbow. The right elbow is going up. So we maintain this position for a moment. Try to create, at first, as much space between the elbows as you can. Okay, now, we're going to keep the left elbow down, left arm down. So unlace the fingers. Put your left hand on the side of your chair, the wheel of your chair. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, round the upper back. And stay here in this first one for a moment. So see how it feels. See where you have any tightness or resistance. And then let's keep moving with the breath. So inhale, we lift the top elbow up, opening up the heart. And then exhale, we round the back with a little bit of a twist for the upper body. And then keep on going. Inhale, heart up. And then exhale, twist. So we're back and forth. So there's so many details to consider. Really the most important thing is that we're moving with the breath. We're not concerned about the drama of the move. We want to be sincere about how much effort we put into it. And about how aware we are of the breath itself. And how aware we are of where our mind is, where our focus is. Let's do one more each way before we hold it. So we're going to turn the chest toward the sky. We're going to pause here for a moment. So we're pressing the head into the hand. We're letting that top elbow go back a little bit. Maybe stretching the chest a little bit on that side. Another deep breath. And then we're going to round. So we bring that floating elbow down toward the opposite hand and we pause here. And if you just pause here and just take some deep breaths, you'll be very aware, you'll become more aware of how much the body moves as we breathe. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to come all the way back to neutral. Okay, back up into neutral. And then we're going to let the arm relax. Okay, so I'm going to shake out the arms a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go back to this idea of balance, okay? So we're going to be leaning forward, stretching forward. We want to make sure that the lower body is rooted and strong. And we're going to lean forward, but let's be careful about how far forward we lean. We want to make sure that we can come back. So sometimes we lean forward with one hand on the opposite thigh, just so we can brace ourselves with a hand. So we'll start off like that. So we'll have the hands on the thighs. We'll take a deep breath in. And then as we exhale, we lean forward. So one hand stays on that leg. You reach with the arm, you lean forward. And then you come back. Same thing on the other side. Deep breath in. Exhale, lean forward. Inhale, come back. So that's the assignment for the next few breaths. So you lean forward. Now, if you feel stable enough, then we don't have to put the hand on the thigh, right? So you can try to not touch your hand there, and just reach forward and back. So you're kind of working on your balance. And if you feel like you can lean to one side or reach for the opposite side, do that. Remember, it's about the breath. It's not about, being flashy. And if you want to get fancy and do something else with the other arm, you can do that. Let's take a few more breaths like that with that action. And for some of us, it takes us a little longer to lean forward, a little longer to come back, whatever. We're not comparing anyone. So this adventure is all about being adaptive. It's all about being inclusive. It's all about being you. So now we're going to come back to neutral. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Just let your hands rest in your lap in the way that's the most comfortable for you. We're just going to roll the head a little bit. So we're going to roll, instead of dropping the head back, we're going to roll it in the front plane of the body. So, and I'm going to say right and left in this case just because it makes it easier to follow. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your head fall to the right. Take a deep breath in. Let your head roll forward into the chest. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your head roll to the left. Keep your head there. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your head roll forward, chin toward the chest. Take a deep breath there. Exhale, roll your head to the right, ear toward the shoulder. Deep breath there, and let's keep on going. Exhale, head forward. Deep breath there. Exhale, head to the left. Deep breath there. Exhale, head forward. Deep breath. Exhale, head to the right. Now stay there for a few breaths with your head just gently falling to the right. You can make little micro movements, maybe chin comes toward the collarbone, whatever works for you. Deep breath. Exhale, head rolls forward. And then to the other side. Exhale, head rolls to the left. Stay there. And then slowly let your head roll forward again, and then slowly bring your head back into neutral. Sit up nice and tall. And we did all of this just to find stillness. They say that all of these yoga moves and breathing techniques and the exercises for focus and concentration were developed just so that we could sit still to meditate. And in meditation, what we're trying to do is find some kind of peaceful equanimity, so we're not concerned with the past, we're not concerned with the future, we're just concerned with right now. So see what that feels like for you. And hopefully you can get a view of the water and of Miami from a distance. We can experience the therapeutic benefits of being